Yeah, hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, can they see me? Yes. My name is Honorable Destiny Ode. I am a software engineer, a data scientist, and a poet. So, I would like to talk to you guys about one of my favorite quotes. It's by Roman philosopher Seneca. It goes, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." So, and that's something that's been very, that's actually meant a lot to me. For the most part of my life, I have always, strived to attain knowledge and whatnot. And sometimes in your course to attain knowledge, it may seem as though the knowledge you're seeking or that you're spending so much time trying to attain means nothing. But in the long run, they all come together. Because we live in this world where, in some way, the universe makes everything connected at the end of the day. I started writing poems when I was 10 years old. And at the time, writing poetry wasn't a cool thing, it wasn't hip. But for some reason, my mom, she allowed me do that and she believed in me doing that. And when I wrote my first poem book, at that time I was still 10 years old. Nobody really cared much to read poems by a 10-year-old. But my mom was kind enough to, still encourage me to go further. And writing poems, trying to create stories from absolutely nowhere, inspired me to then go on to learn how to code. And programming for me started when I was 15 years old on a website. I don't know if you people know it, but it's called nairaland.com. A friend of mine introduced me to Nairaland to meet other poets. But when I was there, I stumbled upon this thread of programmers, and some guy was giving tutorials on how to build a website using HTML. HTML for is the foundational language of the web. All websites you use today start with HTML. So writing poetry then advanced into me liking to write code, which is making something out of nothing. And still at the time, I was 15. Writing code wasn't a big deal. It wasn't. I didn't really know what it was or how much I could achieve doing that, but still, I went at it. And over time, I started to, know the significance of it. I started by learning how to build websites, and then eventually I progressed into learning programming languages. The first one that I learned was Java. But the first time for me where I knew that that meant something was when these Android phones started popping up, and I read that, oh, Android phones, they're built strictly on Java. And then it started to make sense to me. The dots started to connect. Like, oh, this is cool. This language that I learned when I was 15, I can now start applying those things into building, great applications or programs, and then going on to program whole operating systems. And from there, my career started advancing because I started to see the potential in myself and in all those things that I had learned all through the years. And it's through programming and then going on to work with different clients that I started to work with people in the government. And it is through those many jobs that I did that I became recommended to the governor to be appointed as a senior special assistant. I started working with the governor as a senior special assistant, but I worked more closely with the special advisor to the governor on community development, Honorable Newman Ugiagbe, an impeccable leader. Um, these job roles, they all connect in a certain way. Because working with the special advisor on community development, I started to, give my opinions about the things. Being a data scientist, we began to build Data models. Yeah, okay, let me break down what a data scientist is for you. So, a data scientist roles combines computer science, statistics, and mathematics. In data science, what we basically do is we create models of data. I know this doesn't make any sense, but let me try to simplify it. For example, you guys go to school. Let's say I'll call one of you subject A. Your age, your name, your local government of origin, the type of work your parents do, how much your parents earn per year, how much your school fees is. Those are data. Those bits of data. Data is raw unprocessed information. And then when we take those information about each individual, we're able to create visual models about who you are as a person and what you may like. And in doing that, we can then use machine learning, which is another area of computer science, which is basically predictive mathematics, and we use a lot of statistical statements. So we can predict, by creating a model of who you are, we can predict what you do in the future. So having this knowledge, we were able to create mathematical models of people, and we were able to study one of the major causes of poverty and ways to alleviate people out of poverty. And that was one of the very most significant things that I had ever done. That was through working with the special advisor on community development. So yes, people would term a lot of things as luck when they don't understand the principles behind them. With the statement that I started with saying, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So I would like to, advise you guys today to never skim out of a class. Sometimes some things may not make sense to you. Sometimes acquiring some certain types of knowledge may not make any sense to you, but eventually it all makes sense if you keep going at it. It all connects at the end of the day. And when it finally connects, people may attribute it to luck without knowing the years that you've put into that. And yes. And secondly, working in the government is not something lots of kids aspire to. And I think it's also a foundational problem because I remember in primary school and secondary school, my teachers never really came to class and say, hey, who would like to be the next governor of your state? They always used to say who would like to be the next doctor, who would like to be the next lawyer. So those types of professions were highly favored. And people never really speak about the government. And it's so strange and weird because it is through the government and the people in the government that all laws are passed. And those laws affect your day-to-day life. And you cannot successfully be a doctor tomorrow if the government is not really working for you. And yes, so I would like to demystify working with the government. Lots of people do not know how it's not like people find it hard to even aspire to work in government because they cannot really foresee themselves in those positions because they feel like they've been reserved for a certain few. But it's not really true. Your good work will always speak for you. Being a good person will sometimes also speak for you, but you cannot skim out on the work. You have to do the work. You just have to do the work. And being in government isn't something that I thought about when I was younger. All I had always just wanted to do was, write my stories, and then in programming, I just wanted to solve some problems. And then I began to see the bigger picture that problems do not only exist in computers and in code; they exist in our real life and in our everyday activities. And these problems can only be solved by us. So, yeah, kids, you guys can definitely be in government. You can be the next governor of your state. You can rule Nigeria one day, and you can do all of the many great things that you wish were being done right now.
Great. Okay, so students, thank you for staying locked in and listening to Honourable there. Can we please say a big thank you? Great. Okay, so students, thank you for thank you and listening to Honourable there. Okay, thank you so much, Honourable, for
Alright, sure. No worries.
sharing about it.
Alright.
We will catch up with you again.
Alright,
Thank
sure,
you so much.
definitely. Alright, have a good one.